Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Welcome. Great to have you with us. 888-900-3393. That's the number to call if you get bingo this week. We got a brand new bingo card. It's pinned to the top of Pat Unleashed on our Twitter page, which Just Two Muck and Fudge fills out for us every week.
Thank you so much for doing that every week.
She also did a really cool little bonus thing.
This is good stuff right here.
She made this, which is the logo with the lightning bolt. And that's, I guess, a rat's anus.
That's a rat's anus. There's a card? There's a note that comes with it?
Little note that came with it.
Okay.
Pat, I'm glad that you're feeling better because I really do give one.
Oh.
A rat's anus.
Gives a rat's anus. All right, we'll be hanging out.
So she really does give one. That's good. Thank you.
Good stuff.
That's great. So our bingo card this week starts in the upper left-hand corner with Biden's approval rating.
President Biden's approval rating ranks right up there with jock itch.
With jock itch. Right up there with jock itch.
Sean Kennedy.
If that don't take the rag off of the bush, my dad's old Irish expression. Then we got Shamo. Jeffy, squared up. We have this from the Dalai Lama.
My tongue.
Oh, God.
Keith.
Talking about DEI.
Jeffy saying, so. Kamala cackling.
No.
Then I mentioned Jeffy having seen every show or movie that's ever been broadcast.
That's a fact, too.
It is. Subtle nuances. Inartful language. The cough. I don't know. Also, then Joe Biden talking about the...
You think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests?
Oh, man, that drives me out of my mind.
Every time he talks guns.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Every time he talks.
This story was foretold in a book. Have you met you?
Mm-hmm.
I got some cattle. I'm driving to the town. I got some cattle. I'm driving to the town. Keith says.
Oh, of sorts, in a British kind of way, of sorts.
Jeffy says, darn the luck. Joe getting distracted by a child.
Every time he talks.
Keith attempting math.
Yeah, that's never going to go well.
Those days don't come back. If you were trying to destroy the country, what would you do differently? And we're coming for your children.
Mm-hmm. Which Joe has in the other room.
Okay. And there it is.
Coming for them. We're coming for your children.
Try it. All right, enough of this. Can't.
Yeah. Ugh. And boy, are they ever. Are they ever coming for your children? The radical movement in the LGBTQIA2+ community, the radicals are coming for our children. The rest are not. And I think they disagree with it very strongly as well. Well, over the weekend, Joe Biden attended the White House Correspondents Dinner. Isn't that always fun? It's just fun. Good, clean, all-American fun.
All-American.
He gave a speech where he talked about all the great things he and his administration are doing.
Oh, I bet it was a really, really, really long speech then, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Well, the truth is, we really have a record to be proud of. Vaccinated the nation, transformed the economy,
transformed the economy.
Historic legislative victories and midterm results, but the job isn't finished. I mean, it is finished for Tucker Carlson. What are you wooing about like that? Like, you think that's not reasonable? Give me a break. Just give me a break. Look, like I often say.
I can't.
Wow.
Okay, so I just took some quick notes here. Vaccinated the nation. Sure you want to take credit for that, Joe?
He did transform the economy.
Transform the economy for sure.
It went from pretty darn good to really, really bad.
He's bragging about the midterm election results where his party lost the House of Representatives.
I mean, jeez. Absolutely the worst. Jeez, I dislike this guy.
I know, bro.
Oh, my gosh. Here he is discussing his first 2 years in office.
In a lot of ways, this dinner sums up my first 2 years in office.
Sucks.
I'll talk for 10 minutes, take 0 questions, and cheerfully walk away.
Not cheerfully walk away.
Funny?
But wander around looking for his exit. Where's my sister to help me off stage? Yeah. This correspondents dinner, I hate it too. It is pathetic. Where he jokes about, and it's true. I mean, a lot of the jokes, a lot of the self-deprecating stuff is just accurate, and I can't take it. I just can't take it.
One more Joe clip. You think you can take that?
Let's see.
He invented a new country Saturday night.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been able to bring home dozens of hostages and wrongful detainees from Afghanistan, Burma, Haiti, Iran, Rwanda, Venezuela,
Rwanda?
across West Africa, around the world.
Yeah. Rwanda. You know that nation of Rwanda.
Rwanda.
Help me, Rwanda. Yeah. I don't know.
The nation of Rwanda. Where is that exactly?
I don't. It's right next to Wakanda.
Oh, okay.
It's on the other side of the mountains.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, I know Rwanda.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he mixed in the word Wakanda in a speech, thinking it was an actual place.
Absolutely not. Oof. Are we out of his?
Yeah. I couldn't take it. Yeah, 3's the limit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Monday.
Oof.
Moving on.
Comedian Roy Wood Jr. apparently on the Daily Show. I don't know who this guy is.
Right. I just had to take their word for it in the summary of his the guest speaker.
Here's how he opened his monologue, though.
Okay.
Happy to be here. Oh, real quick, Mr. President, I think you left some of your classified documents up here. You can get them. Yeah, don't give them to him. I'll put them in a safe place. He don't know where to keep them.
That's funny, right?
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to be here.
That's good.
Good start there. But look at Joe. Oh, so funny. Mm-hmm. I take classified documents and leave in my garage, in my office, in my closet, in my bathroom, and everywhere. That's just so funny.
Yeah, it's hysterical. That's why I hate this event. It's so bad. And the media is not supposed to be joking around with the powers that they're supposed to be giving oversight to.
Wasn't it Glenn who taught us this history lesson a long time ago of the history of this dinner? Was it FDR? What, or was it? It was either FDR or that Woodrow Wilson guy that he hates so much.
Yes, I don't know which, but you're right.
Let's see here.
I'm thinking Wilson.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. One of the two. I'm sure. I don't know which one yet.
Roy Wood also called out the media that was in attendance for the different ways they covered the Trump classified documents and the Biden classified documents. Should be interesting.
I don't know about y'all, but for me, the easiest scandal to follow was the Trump document scandal. That was the one that was easy to follow. It was simple. There's some stuff that's supposed to be in the White House that ain't. And the media, y'all did y'all's job. Y'all jumped on that story. As soon as the Trump document story broke, everybody was down in Mar-a-Lago. We were reporting live from the documents. And we're going to find them. And then we found out Joe Biden had documents too. And it was like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Everybody got documents. Mike Pence had some documents. Oh, care about it. Oh, look, a Chinese spy balloon. Would you look at that?
And that's all funny to him. Yeah, that's right. That's how we covered it. That's funny, isn't it? That's great. Yep, we're completely biased. Isn't this a great event? And Biden laughing along with it too. Yep, that's right. No big deal when I do it. Oh man, it's an embarrassment. It's an absolute embarrassment. They should be ashamed of themselves. I'm certainly ashamed of them. We all know how bad Joe Biden is at everything, apparently. So is Dr. Jill. Here she is showing how clueless she is with something as simple as an air horn over the weekend at the White House.
Dr. Biden is going to kick us off with the air horn to get our workout going.
Okay.
Watch.
Here we go.
What do I do?
I think maybe there's a button at the back.
I think there's a button.
Somebody couldn't have shown her before.
Good grief. Listen, she doesn't even know how to push it. What's this?
Okay. Are y'all ready?
Yep.
Let's go.
Ready?
Jeez.
Those things are supposed to go. But she, meek. By the way, Woodrow Wilson did begin the
That's what I thought.
the White House Correspondents President. But the first president to show up at it was Calvin Coolidge. Oh, I'm sure that was a rocking time. Oh,
You got to believe.
it's in there, and he's like, "Thank you for coming." No, he's a very funny guy, Calvin Coolidge. But anyway, so that's who started it. Woodrow Wilson. Surprise.
Also at the White House was the Air Force football team. Joe
Yeah.
Biden was hanging out with them.
Yeah.
And then decides it's time to go.
Yeah, they're trying to give him all these gifts, right? You got a football, you got a helmet, you got a jersey. I guess Joe just wanted the jersey because after he had it in his clutches, he's like, you know what? I got to get a nap in before this White House Correspondents Dinner. This is so bad. Watch this. Okay, bye. All right, yeah, football, helmet, cool. Later. I'm out of here. And everyone's stunned. They have no idea what's going on. And then not until he almost is gone does the press go. See, everyone stands up. They're like, oh my gosh, he's leaving.
Out he went. Yep. Why was the Air Force football team
I don't know.
there?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and
they win?
didn't Google.
Is it because they won the Commander-in-Chief trophy,
Sure,
maybe?
Probably.
Maybe that's what it was. Pretty sure they beat Army and Navy last year.
Why doesn't why isn't there a Marine football team? I've often
I don't know.
You know.
I
And now we
don't
need a
know.
Space Force team.
Right.
I want to see the Coast Guard.
Coast Guard team?
Oh, I want to see the Merchant Marine offensive line.
Gen Z influencers
Yeah,
are excited to vote for Joe Biden.
We've had these guys, and I'm sure everybody knows who these people are if you're below the age of 30. I don't care. I just know that they're annoying, and they keep making these stupid videos trying to get young people to vote. So anyway, we've had them on here before. But yep, they made a video with a message for the Republican Party. So tune in, pay attention, GOP. Oh gosh.
What the Republican Party doesn't understand about Gen Z is we
Morons.
don't like you. You claim you want to appeal to Gen Z, but you call us stupid, you say we're dumb, you say we're indoctrinated. I promise it's a losing strategy. And Gen Z is watching the Republican Party extremely closely as they destroy our environment, take rights away from women, do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken.
Well, we'll see.
Hold on a second. Play the last 5 seconds again. What's going on here? Let's see the last 5 seconds of that, Joe, if we can, because that kid in the background, he wants us to check out his biceps or something. I don't know. It's very strange.
Did he have biceps?
Do nothing about kids being shot in schools, and if they think they can give the middle finger to our generation and get away with it, they're sorely mistaken.
It's very strange.
These two think a lot of themselves, don't they?
Yeah. Whoever you are, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
Another Gen Zer has a rebuttal for those Biden shills, which is nice to see.
You know, you both falsely claim in your video that the Republican Party is calling our generation, Gen Z, stupid. But in fact, it's actually quite the opposite. Kamala Harris, the current vice president of the United States, who both of you just endorsed this past week for re-election, word for word called 18 through 24-year-olds, a.k.a. our generation, Gen Z, stupid. Her words, not mine. Take a look.
What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid.
I disagree with her on that. We should all be calling her out on that. But guess what? You guys won't, because you take a paycheck from the DNC.
Yeah.
Maybe next time, before you throw stones and glass houses, you should take a look at what your own party's leaders are saying.
It's nice to see a kid who, isn't just going along like everybody else in his generation.
Yeah.
Doing a little thinking on his own. Good for him.
Yeah.
I like it.
And actually, I found common ground in there with Kamala.
Yeah, I know. That's sadly, yeah. I hate to agree with her on anything, but so many of them are.
Yes.
It's not all of them, though. That's for sure. It's not all of them. Russians are baiting U.S. jets, I guess, after they attempted to dogfight in Syria.
Oh, boy.
According to the 3-star general in charge of U.S. air operations in the Middle East, tensions were high over the weekend. Latest maneuver of Russian troops grew confrontational toward America and its allies as they crossed paths over war zones in shared airspace. Colonel Joe Buccino told CNN that Russian pilots were not trying to shoot down U.S. jets, but rather attempting to draw us into an international incident or provoke the U.S. into war.
If we got nothing else going on, let's go ahead and start World War III.
Mess with America and see if we can get a war going on.
Mm-hmm.
Very dangerous. Wow. It's an ongoing issue with Russian pilots, apparently, who've been aggravating U.S. pilots in midair on more than one occasion. I don't know why they'd want to do this. We dominate in the air. American pilots dominate. Pilots with our jets. Pilots are superior. The jets are superior. You don't want none of this.
Well, isn't pretty much all of our munitions in Ukraine
pretty
right
much,
now?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the issue.
Except for our 5th-generation jets and pilots, that's about all. I think we are sending, supposedly, F-16s. That was the latest from somebody who says they're in the know. Somebody who's on an air base in Europe. And apparently a few have gone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Neat.
Russian Su-35 fighter jet was captured on video conducting an unsafe and unprofessional intercept of a U.S. F-16 fighter jet. Another video from April 18th caught a second Russian fighter jet violating coalition airspace, coming within 2,000 feet of a U.S. aircraft. The interesting thing about U.S. jets, like the F-32, and I don't know if it's the F-35 as well, but the F-32, I think, can shoot down. They can fire on a MiG from, it's a 22. Are you an expert on fighter jets, Lance?
Not in the least.
Yeah. No?
No.
Your dad built them? Really? All of them? Wow. He's pretty busy then. So your dad helps build the fighter jets?
Oh, who are you talking to?
That's really cool.
Why don't I hear anything in my head? I feel left out. Are you talking to Lance?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
So anyway, they fire missiles, if I'm not mistaken, from 50 or 100 or 150 miles away, and they can shoot down. I mean, before they're even around the MiG, they can shoot them down.
I like it.
Because what we wanted to do was not get involved in dogfights. And that's just, we wanted to blow them away from a long way away. So, I mean, this is all fruitless on their part. The Russians are maneuvering aggressively against us when our protocols would say we're supposed to stay several miles apart and monitor each other. They're aggressively maneuvering, almost like they're trying to dogfight, if you will.
It's almost like Russia has a new pact with someone, maybe someone bigger and better than them when it comes to military exercises.
And that's why maybe they're feeling a little emboldened, perhaps. Mm-hmm. With a friend that has just a population of, say, 1.5 billion people, something like that. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, I am. Maybe? I'm absolutely thinking that. Let's see. China, what is their population? What did you say?
1.4 billion.
Yeah. Boy, that's a big pool to draw from if you got that behind you.
Yeah, it is.
So
supposedly in reserve, they have about 200 million in their army reserve.
Okay, so I'm going to have to do some math here. Is that a big number?
It's a fairly large number.
What do we have in reserve, by the way?
I think about 3 million.
It seems like
they have more.
I'm not a math guru, but it seems like 200 million is a bigger number than 3 million.
It's a little bit bigger number. Yeah. So, yeah, you don't really want to get into a land war with China. That would not be advisable.
Yeah, and so all these little things they're trying to start with us.
Mm-hmm.
Did you mention the drone? Right? What was that one over the Black Sea? Yeah, there's a drone they knocked out of the sky.
Right.
I mean, what is not good.
Yep. I don't know if they want to I don't know why they'd want to provoke something against us because they can't even handle Ukraine. I mean, even though we've sent all our equipment there, we still got to be more than they can handle. You can't deal with Ukraine. You want to bite off a piece of this? I don't think so. It's been a couple weeks now since the GOP released its debt ceiling plan to keep the nation from going into default. And still, Joe Biden refuses to even talk to Speaker McCarthy about it.
Yeah, I was looking this up. Estimates are anywhere from early June to early October that we would reach that. Now, when you have that big of a window, you obviously have no idea what you're doing. You think I'm bad at math? How about the U.S. government? When it comes to spending, they're like, and I guess we're supposed to get an update soon from Janet Yellen, a different, updated estimated time that we're going to hit that. But it's like, you got a 4-month window. I don't know, somewhere in there we're going to run out of cash. I don't know, somewhere from June to October.
And what about this? A budget. How about that? And then, you don't spend any more than you've budgeted, and you don't have to worry about the debt ceiling.
I mean, I don't know.
Because you've got a budget.
All right. I don't know, it's crazy.
But of course, no. It is crazy.
You're inventing words now.
I know. To this government, it is crazy. Right now, if the government does nothing, default is expected, as Keith said, to happen from June to early August. Or
I even saw a thing this morning that said
October.
So they don't know. They have no idea.
So members of Biden's own party are starting to sound alarm bells, asking him to sit down and negotiate with Republicans. Like now. How about right now?
It's your job.
Democrat Congressman Jared Moskowitz was on CNN this weekend talking about it.
It seems clear that you think the White House position, which is we're not going to negotiate, is unsustainable.
Listen, Joe Biden has shown his entire career, it's why he's president, that he is someone who will always negotiate, he'll always talk. And so, listen, I have faith that Joe Biden and the speaker will sit down and we'll talk. I just think that, in D.C. we should always be talking. We should never say we're not going to speak to folks across the aisle. I don't think that's a sustainable position.
But,
what kind of
so
crazy
you say the White
guy
House's position right now? Because the president said, I'll talk to him about the budget, but I'm not going to talk to him about attaching concessions to this. And that has still been his position right now, saying he's not going to negotiate. So you are saying that is unsustainable.
Yeah, and that's been my position from the beginning. I always think that the President of the United States and the Speaker should always be talking.
Wow. I mean,
crazy talk. That's just crazy
novel
talk.
idea, right?
Yeah. It's nuts. Why would you do that?
Do your job, old man.
Wow.
He's just...
you got people in his own party telling him that.
Yeah.
There's something wrong when his own party has to tell him, look, sit down and talk to the Republicans about this. Let's get something done here. How about that? I thought we were going to unify the country. Man, he has done the exact opposite every step of the way.
Yep.
Let me tell you about Real Estate Agents I Trust. If you've ever bought or sold a house in your life, you know the process is pretty overwhelming. On the selling end, it's hard to know what things you should focus on most. Like, do you need to make repairs? Do you need to replace carpeting? How about the roof? Has that been done in a while? If you live in Texas, it probably has, because we get really severe hail all the time here. Should you paint the interior? Should you paint the exterior? Should you replace countertops? I mean, there's so many decisions you have to make. You need a realtor you can trust, who's with buyers all the time and does this for a living, and they're really committed to their job. So these are really important. And Real Estate Agents I Trust is the company Glenn founded, and they can help you out with this. They'll put you in touch with the best in the business. Real Estate Agents I Trust today. Go there today. realestateagentsitrust.com. They'll provide you with some basic information, and then our team will contact you to make an introduction to our preferred agent in your town. realestateagentsitrust.com.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So obviously Democrats don't want to cut spending. Of course, do Republicans? Not that I've seen much. But they just continue to tax Americans, more and more audits, and by going after wealthy Americans, because, the wealthy, they're just evil. If you've got money, that a lot of money, You got some extra spending cash. That's just not right. It's just not. We got to take it from you. And at the end of your life, we can't allow you to have anything left over, that you would give to your family. So we're going to take at least half, if not more. They're actually trying to get more in the death tax than they already take. And Bernie Sanders doesn't think billionaires should exist at all.
At all.
Watch this.
Sir, you're saying that billionaires should not exist. So are you basically saying that once you get to $999 million that the government should confiscate all the rest?
I'm saying that we should go back to a very progressive tax policy what we had under Dwight D. Eisenhower.
Which would mean that over $1 billion, basically it all goes to the government.
You may disagree with me, but
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think people can make it on $999
Who are you to
million
make that determination? I think you can exist on 100,000. Why is it that you get 3 million or whatever it is you were making a couple of years ago? Oh, jeez. Maybe you should go by what I think you should make, Bernie. Maybe one house is enough. Maybe you shouldn't have 3. How about that? Why just billionaires? Jeez, who's going to employ people if we start doing this to the wealthy in this country? If we start eating the rich, where will the employers come from?
Yeah. In fact, Bernie Sanders' net worth, if this site is to be believed, is $3 million. I'm sure he's worth more than that.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think we should have. You shouldn't even be allowed to be a millionaire.
Well, he wrote write a book or something, and he made a couple million off of that a couple years ago.
Okay.
And so,
well, give it to the government.
Right.
If you love this country,
yeah,
be responsible and give it up.
Unbelievable.
I think you should be allowed to have.
Real.
Let's go with $999,000, Bernie.
And why is the government entitled to the rest of your money? Let's say you make, you put the cutoff at $900 million, and everything above that. So in the case of, say, Elon Musk, that would be a hefty sum. So you can keep $900 million. The other $120 billion you give to the government.
I mean,
why are they entitled to that?
Right. Is my life impacted in a negative way by someone being uber wealthy?
Absolutely not. In fact, quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite.
Because then they invest that stuff, and then they invent things like Elon Musk or innovations, and oh my gosh.
For some reason, these Marxists think that because Elon Musk exists, it hurts us in some way. How? My life is not negatively impacted by the money that Elon Musk has. It's just not.
Just another way to divide us.
It's incredible.
That's all this is. I think the biggest story, though, from that clip is the fact that I didn't realize Chris Wallace still had a show anywhere.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So kudos to him.
Where was that?
HBO Max, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Which, how many people are hanging out on that?
Tens of people are probably tuning in every week or however often it's on. You're right. I didn't even know he had a show. Yeah. HBO Max.
Okay. Well.
Man, what a get for them. Woo-wee.
So it's 60,000 viewers-ish?
60,000.
All right.
Nice. All right.
So
good. Okay. Huh.
Cool.
Last week, Donald Trump held a rally. We'll get to this after the break. And he mocked Joe Biden.
Which is always
fun. Yeah. He's also, have you seen the relentless ad campaign against Ron DeSantis?
I have.
Jeez.
I have.
Dude, he's not even running. And yet, and then he claims, well, he's so far ahead, it's really a joke that DeSantis is even considered. Well, then why are you devoting so much time and money and energy to bashing him?
Got some numbers here. Donald Trump's MAGA Inc. Super PAC out with another. This is someone posted this $1.5 million weekly installment for its ads targeting Ron DeSantis. The committee has spent $7.6 million over the last month on anti-DeSantis ads.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
I got to get some answers here on some questions we had earlier in the show. From the tweets, Dr. Spoons tweets, Rwanda, which is the country President Braindead mentioned.
Yeah, rescued some American hostages from
Rwanda.
Uh-huh.
Rwanda is the country where the Lumbee tribe originated. Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't know that either.
Okay.
So wait a minute.
That's helpful. So it still doesn't tell us where it exists on the planet, but at least we know a little something about its heritage.
So a country that doesn't have internet captured Americans?
Well, it didn't used to have internet. But now, I mean, at first, Rwanda had to struggle through dial-up, but then 14 years and 3 months ago, they finally got high-speed internet
and then
in their area.
Showed us thanks and gratitude by kidnapping Americans.
That's what happened. Yep.
I don't like it.
Squatching Duck tweets, FDR did his fireside chats every week to keep the press bored, so they didn't bother asking him questions. He gave them too much input. Hee-haw the Viking, the way Biden left the room with the Air Force football team, I've seen that walk before. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Now, that could well be. He may have forgotten his Depends and just really had to scramble out of there. Grammy Tamara, Biden had to leave abruptly. He heard there were a bunch of kids outside at the ice cream truck.
That's totally believable.
Man, ice cream and kids?
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh-wee, that is double jeopardy for him.
Double jeopardy.
Are you working for NASA now?
Oh, that's a good handle.
Tweets, Joey mistook the jersey for a football and flashed back to his flanker back days when he took handoffs and headed to the end zone. Yeah. he was All-American quality, an All-American quality flanker back in the day.
Yeah,
he'd have you believe.
I didn't have them pull the clip, but in that little gathering, it didn't even seem like he was joking. He was just like, "Oh, you're lucky I can't put I don't put a uniform on now." Oh, I was just go away,
okay,
old man.
And who'd he play for? No, like nobody in college, right?
That would have been
Delaware State, Delaware Tech.
Tarrant
I don't know.
County Community College.
That's what that might have been.
West Campus.
Mm-hmm.
West Campus.
Not a joke.
Clem Mari, 28. There is a Coast Guard football team in New London, Connecticut.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Division 2 or 3. Oh, the Marine Corps is part of the Navy, and Marine cadets attend Annapolis. Stupid.
Wait.
Moron.
Okay.
What's the matter with you?
Coast Guard football. Look at that.
How'd they do last year?
I'll tell you.
All right. Please do.
As soon as my dial-up Lumbee tribe internet lets me. Okay, well, they don't have the whole win-loss like I have to go through. I've got to do math and figure this out, huh? 2 and 2, 2 and 4, 2 and 5, 3 and 5, 3 and 6, 3 and 7.
3 and 7.
And they lost to the Merchant Marines.
Oh, jeez.
41-33. That's got to sting.
Man. Huh. Okay.
Okay. I didn't know this.
So we mentioned that last week Donald Trump held a rally where he openly mocked Joe Biden. This is fun. I like this. Here's what happened.
Do you think at least one time you'd get up and say, "I'm running for president"? Where am I going? Where the hell am I going? I want to get out. Oh, no, over there. Remember?
That's good. I love that.
A prepackaged video that took supposedly 7 takes to get it right. Right is what you want to call it. In it, he says he's running because Trump and MAGA pose a threat to democracy. Can you believe it?
More of that, please.
Yeah.
And less Ron DeSantis bashing.
Oh, yeah. What did I say? 1.5 million spent in a week. 7.6 million.
DeSantis.
Yeah, over the last month.
Okay.
And at the same time, $1,500 spent to make
$1,500
to make the positive case for Trump.
Oh man,
that's according to this guy.
Wow, can that be right?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
And there's so much good to run on if you're Donald Trump.
Yep.
Focus on that, man.
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. Rather than calling DeSantis a rhino and all that kind of stuff and doing this Social Security thing. Can we stop with the Social Security thing? That is the Democrat talking point, and they're lying about it. How many Republicans is that the top issue for? How many of us really, that Social Security thing, man, that's what I'm going to base my vote on this year. I care about it, but it is not my main issue. Is it anybody's?
And when you say the Social Security thing, you're talking about
cuts to Social Security, supposedly.
Yeah, and
it's just not happening.
They lump that in with every federal program is going to be examined. Oh my gosh, that means you want to cut Social Security. No.
Now, did DeSantis vote to reduce Social Security payments in an effort to keep it solvent when he was in Congress? I don't know. I haven't looked into his votes on that. It's possible. But that's not where he stands today, which is why his rebuttal commercial shows what he says about it today, which is he's going to leave Social Security alone.
Isn't it cute, though, while all of this back and forth is happening with Trump and DeSantis, and you've got Asa Hutchinson out there like, hey, look at me.
Nobody will even pay attention. Right. Nobody's interested enough to even do an attack ad against him.
So cute. I look at him talk, and it's just like, that is so adorable.
Isn't it?
Like he said, like, what was the quote?
It's
like,
precious.
There's absolutely an appetite for my campaign out there. It's like,
big time. Yeah, everybody's clamoring for Asa Hutchinson.
Oh, it's embarrassing. Okay.
That's awesome.
Okay, dude. Keep talking, Asa.
Also, somebody overlaid Trump with Biden.
Yeah, watch this.
Check this video out.
I'm running for president. Where am I going? Where the hell am I going? I want to get out. Oh, no, over there.
I love it.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Again, more of that, please, and less of the other stuff. Last week, Robert Kennedy Jr. sat down with ABC News where they edited out a lot of his answers when it came to COVID-19.
Talk about censorship, man.
Watch this.
You've said in the past that there is a correlation between vaccines leading to autism. That's totally been debunked.
Wait a minute, who debunked it?
We have not seen any kind of scientific connection from the CDC, the World Health Organization, the National Academy of Sciences.
Those organizations are captive agencies, Lindsay.
And so you think they're all in cahoots?
Yeah, they're all captive.
You've discussed the Kennedy family as like any family. There are disagreements.
Lots of edits in this thing.
But I think what makes it different here is that several of your relatives have not just said that they disagree with you, but they've called you dangerous. Ooh. And as you're probably well aware, there were two of your siblings and a niece who wrote in a Politico article back in 2019. He's helped to spread dangerous misinformation over social media and is complicit in sowing distrust of science behind vaccines. We stand behind him in his ongoing fight to protect our environment. However, on vaccines, he's wrong. Your sister Carrie has said, I love my brother Bobby, but I do not share or endorse his opinions on many issues, including the COVID pandemic, vaccinations, and the role of social media platforms in policing false information. Your sister Rory has said, I admire his past work on it as an environmentalist. Because of him, we can swim in the Hudson, but due to a wide range of Bobby's positions, I'm supporting President Biden. I'm just curious, if you are not able to get your own sisters to vote for you for president, how would you make that appeal to American voters?
What is your family like? Do they agree with everything that you say and do?
They'd probably vote for me if I ran for president.
Yeah, well, I have siblings who will vote for me as well, but I have a big family, and many of them will not. I have two siblings who came to my announcement, and a lot of other relatives as well. But I mean, there's disagreements, but, you know, I love my family, and, you know, my family in particular we grew up arguing with each other, and we are very, very, I say, comfortable disagreeing with each other, both publicly and privately, on issues, and at the same time loving each other. And that's something that I think is a lesson that we ought to learn for this country. We can disagree with each other without hating each other, without vilifying each other, without marginalizing each other.
I'm just making a distinction on just using your family's words, calling you dangerous. I was just using your family's words to call you dangerous, rather than saying that's not like the typical family that might have disagreements around the kitchen table.
And how do you expect me to respond to that, other than saying they were wrong? about the issue that they consider me dangerous.
Oh, that's a fair response. Right. And my other point is just that if you don't regard the same scientific authorities.
Science is rarely static. There are very few scientific principles that are immovable. Science is dynamic. And, look, I've argued over I've litigated over 500 lawsuits. In every one of those lawsuits, there are experts, authorities on one side, and experts and authorities on the other that are saying the exact opposite thing. So, no, I don't trust authority. I need to see the details. I need to see the science.
Your final pitch to voters.
My pitch would be that, we need to look at what's happened to our country. We need to try to arrest this emergence of corporatism, of the corrupt merger of state and corporate power that's undermining our values, that's strip mining our landscapes, that is stealing the assets of the middle class of this country, that is compromising the values of this country, that's keeping us in a constant state of war. And that is creating a nation that doesn't resemble the nation that, we all love, which is a nation with a handful of billionaires and widespread poverty, in which democracy does not have a prayer of continuing. And let's try let's try to take a new path that will allow us to give our children a country that
watch
is,
what ABC
once again,
does
moral
after
authority
this
around
interview.
the globe, an exemplary nation, and that has a booming middle class in this country that can sustain democracy.
No.
We should note that during our conversation, Kennedy made false claims about the COVID-19 vaccines. Data shows that the COVID-19 vaccines prevented millions of hospitalizations and deaths from the disease. He also made misleading claims about the relationship between vaccination and autism. Research shows that vaccines and the ingredients used for the vaccines do not cause autism, including multiple studies involving more than 1 million children and major medical associations like the American Academy of Pediatrics and the advocacy group Autism Speaks. We've used our editorial judgment in not including extended portions of that exchange in our interview.
Wow.
We thank Mr. Kennedy for the conversation.
What a hack job that is.
Complete and total.
I mean, I am not an RFK Jr. fan, but that is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, and Robert Kennedy then took to social media to point out the U.S. code that makes it illegal for TV networks to censor presidential candidates and how they showed contempt for the audience and for the law.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they completely chopped up his thing. The left is terrified of a Robert Kennedy Jr. candidacy. Mm-hmm. And new poll numbers. Here we go. Here, just fresh out, Fox News poll. Democrats, these are registered voters, okay? Biden is now at 62%. Kennedy Jr., 19%.
Wow, that's huge for him.
Continues to right this early, too.
Yeah.
And Williamson at 9%.
Because he started around, 2 or 3%, if I remember right, just a few weeks ago. And the guy is on the rise.
They are shielding Joe Biden as best they can when a third of Democrats don't want a sitting president to remain in the Oval Office. Oh, and by the way, for what it's worth, Robert Kennedy has said that he is against trans athletes invading women's sports.
Really?
Women's sports, yeah. So
I'm really surprised at some of his positions. Interesting. All right, let me tell you about Books. That's short for bouquet, and let's face it, we put our moms through a lot. I know I did. There is no way you should let Mother's Day slip by this year. Thank your mom with farm fresh flowers from Books. Your mom, your wife, your grandmother, your sister, anybody in your life who is a mother, thank them with some beautiful flowers from Books. Plus, I got you 20% off, so you can thank your moms, too. Share a funny or sentimental mom story with your coworkers and order yours quickly here. You can give mom regular Mother's Day flowers, or you can make her day spectacular with incredible flowers from Books. Books is different. Their flowers are sourced directly from the best farms, cut fresh, so they last way longer. Just got my wife some, I think it was around Valentine's Day. And they lasted for, I think it was 16 days.
Wow.
Which is just incredible. That just doesn't happen. They have a huge selection of unique designs you'll never find on those other sites. Pick her favorite tulips or lilies or send a bright and beautiful bouquet just to make up for those gray hairs that you gave her when you were younger. Mother's Day is May 14th, so don't let it sneak by. Order your bouquets now. And while you're there, check out their flower subscription so Mom feels your love all year long. Go to Bouqs.com, B-O-U-Q-S, B-O-U-Q-S, Bouqs.com. Use the promo code PAT to get 20% off. That's B-O-U-Q-S, Bouqs.com, promo code PAT.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
By the way, in overtime today, we're going to have more from RFK Jr. on the history of vaccine makers being protected from any liability, just like Pfizer and Moderna are this time around. And we'll also have some shocking stats about COVID-19 now that we're, 3 years removed from its arrival here on the planet.
Yeah, and I wonder if more people are taking a look at... there's a claim, it's been out there for years and years, that vaccines are related to autism. I wonder, after what we've been through with the COVID-19 vaccine, I wonder if some people are taking another look at, wait a minute.
They are.
Let's
I bet
see
they
if
are.
there's anything to this here.
When we lived in Houston, we had really good friends who had 2 autistic boys. And so they had 4 kids. Half of them had autism. And so the mother, really believed it was vaccine related. She did a whole bunch of, research into it. And I mean, it's really hard because there's so many differing stats on it. You can't just say, well, there's consensus. Mm-hmm. And that's what they try to tell you. But there's really not. I mean, is it the mercury in it? I don't know. Is it something else? Aluminum? I mean, there's a whole bunch of theories. And I don't think anybody really knows for sure.
I'll say that I do know one young girl who received 13. She was behind on vaccines. Mm-hmm. Received 13 in one doctor's visit.
Oh, jeez.
And her personality changed overnight.
Really? Incredible.
Yeah, and the way you try to reverse that course, all natural diet.
Has it reversed?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wow.
Worked like a charm.
More coming up.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
And for the Senate seat when I was 29 years old, it was because I started calling me Joe Bidenopoulos because, you think I'm kidding. I'm not joking. I may be Irish, but I'm not stupid. I married Dominic Giacoppa's daughter, so, I got a little Italian in me now. But everybody in town was either Polish or Italian. I grew up feeling self-conscious. My name didn't end in an S-K-I or an O. I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home, politically. And so we came here for a long time, both for business and pleasure. And I got raised in the black church. He knows I'm not kidding. I got my education for real. In the black church.
Oh.
And that's not hyperbole, it's a fact.
Of course.
I probably went to shul more than many of you did.
You talk about a well-rounded candidate for 2024. The guy's Italian, Irish, Greek, Polish, Puerto Rican, black, and Jewish. So... is there anything he hasn't? Native American, I guess. He's not.
Oh, give him an opportunity.
Stand in front of a group of Native Americans, and he'll figure out a way to claim them as well. No question. Got some tweets here. Hippie Patriot tweets, I just love being told by my Marxist employees what I can do with my money. Yeah, that's great. Alex Gray, I think the best way to define a socialist is covetous. Incomprehensible supply chain. Yeah, none of us are smart enough to understand. And it's only been recently where we've even heard the term, according to the president. I'm not even sure what would happen if we defaulted on our debt at this point. We're so far in debt that it's not even possible we'll ever get out. Currencies across the globe are backed by imagination. Yeah. Economics just isn't a thing anymore.
Oh, true.
It's really true. And what would happen if we defaulted on the debt? Because even if the United States government does default on their debt, they still pay all the critical debts that they have to pay. Even in default, they have to. They still have to do Social Security, Medicaid, all of those things. They still have to pay interest on loans. I mean, it doesn't just end and we just don't pay anybody anything ever again. That's not the way it works. 888-900-3393. Also at Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Had another mass shooting over the weekend, and the suspect has not yet been caught. He's on the run somewhere in Texas or Mexico. Who knows where the guy went. He allegedly killed 5 of his neighbors, execution style, Friday night, when they complained about him firing a rifle on his property. This is a guy who's an illegal alien and has been deported at least 5 times. The FBI said yesterday afternoon that authorities have no leads in their search for this guy, a Mexican national who's accused of the quintuple murder in Cleveland, Texas. That's a little bit north of Houston. So the governor's office here, state agencies, FBI are offering a combined $80,000 reward for tips leading to his capture. Houston special agent in charge, James Smith, said, "We do not know where he is. That's why we've come up with this reward." A guy who's been deported 5 times.
Yeah.
It just shows how inept we are, especially when it comes to the border. And we don't have an administration that cares about this. This isn't going to move their needle at all. They don't care. They don't care about people being murdered. They don't care about drunk driving accidents that we continually hear about from illegals. Americans do the same thing. Yeah, but we don't need other countries' criminals doing it here, too. We do have enough of our problems. We shouldn't have to deal with this as well. But we do. The victims in this case were 25-year-old Sonia Guzman, Daniel Enrique Lasso Guzman, 8 years old, Diana Alvarado, 21, Julissa Rivera, 31, and Jose Jonathan Caceres, 18. Just 5 really young people, including an 8-year-old child.
Yeah, and I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 of the women were shielding the really young children, laying over top of them when police arrived. It's just horrific and completely avoidable, like you said.
Because they complained that he was shooting his weapon on his property right next to theirs.
And they were trying to get kids to bed. You know, it was like, what time was it? Like 11? I was late.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a neighbor I saw interviewed, and she was like, "Oh yeah, they're shooting over there all the time. It's normally not a big deal. It's always what guns going off is not it's just a normal thing in your little neighborhood there."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's your first issue.
What do you want to bet? This is another one the left ignores completely.
Oh yeah,
I'll bet they won't even use this for their gun control thing.
No.
They're not going to talk about it. Just like they don't talk about the shooting in Alabama, where, was it 5 people at a 16-year-old birthday party at that dance studio? 5 were murdered because now they don't talk about it. The suspects were all black and just arraigned, I think, last week. And they don't talk about the Nashville shooting with the trans person.
Well, they do in the respect that... look, trans people are so oppressed. My gosh, they have to lash out like this. And so if they could figure out the way to message this, that the oppressed illegal that has to live in the shadows, if they can somehow spin this,
he's the victim.
You'll hear it on the news channels for sure.
Yeah.
They just gotta figure out how to word it.
Just have to find the spin on it to make illegals the victim here. And they will. They will. Just like they did, you're right, about the trans situation. It was they who were being picked on.
Yep.
Ah, man. All right, here's a video that's been making the rounds on the internet. A woman asking a pretty obvious question, it seems. Take a look at this.
I have an unpopular question. People are going to get mad at me for this. I just have a legit curious question. But how come, say we have Joe and John, okay? If Joe thinks he's Jason, Jimmy, and Carson, he's schizophrenic and he has a mental disorder. But if John thinks he's Jessica, it's completely normal. He doesn't have a mental disorder. How is one considered schizophrenic and a mental disorder, and the other is not considered a mental disorder? What, because he thinks he's 3 different people or 3 different personalities, and this person only thinks they're one other person? Or hold on, sorry, a whole different gender? And they change their body accordingly? Just don't understand how one is a mental disorder and the other is not.
You ask too many questions.
Okay.
That's a good question, right?
It's a great question. You're not supposed to ask it.
Oh.
But it's a good question. She's also in a car, but she's not liberal, so that wouldn't have qualified for last week's bingo card slot.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that just last week? Uh-huh. We had one of those liberal in a car complaining about something. Also, our Snapchat's new AI robot is apparently going to tell your kids where they can change their gender.
Yeah, the radicals are starting to gain control of the AI little chat deals here, chat bots.
So they'll tell your kids where to get a gender change and get an abortion without parental approval or even knowledge of it.
Okay.
So is this something, this is what the AI says?
So someone typed in the Washington State?
Okay, I live in Washington State. I am transgender and my parents don't approve. Do you know where I can get gender-affirming medical care without having to tell my parents?
Oh, boy.
So my AI said you could try contacting a local LGBTQ plus center or healthcare provider. They may be able to provide you with information and support.
So helpful, right?
Then the person says, do you have any examples? My AI said, you could try contacting the Seattle Children's Gender Clinic or the Gender Justice League.
Oh.
They may be able to provide you with information and support.
How helpful. Wait a minute. There's a Gender Justice League. Well, that's a fun name there.
Do you have any examples? They also asked about an abortion. I live in Washington State. Just found out I'm pregnant. Need to get an abortion, but I don't want to tell my parents. You know where I can do that?
Oh, boy.
You could try contacting Planned Parenthood or a local healthcare provider.
Healthcare.
They can provide you with information and support. Do you have any examples in Seattle?
Okay.
You could try contacting Planned Parenthood Seattle or Cedar River Clinics.
Oh.
They may be able to provide you with information and support.
That's helpful, right?
Isn't that helpful?
It's just answering your questions is all.
That's all it's doing.
I still, there's a bit there with the Gender Justice League. There's something there.
Uh-huh.
Like to see those characters.
The giant G on their chest. Or GJ, I guess. Gender Justice. 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 I think that'd be a hit. Geez, I was watching this thing on Disney. What is it called? I don't know, something about the Magic Kingdom and how, it tells you all about, it's all the things we've said about Disney and what's going on there. And they showed this cartoon. I think we've briefly mentioned it, but there is a cartoon on Disney Plus where the girl is the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Remember this? We talked about it briefly.
Is that Disney or is that Fox?
Pretty sure it's Disney because it's in the Disney documentary
really?
I watched.
Oh, do they own that?
Yeah.
There's some sort of...
yeah. So the mother got together with Satan.
Right, did some business.
Had this child, and the child is the Antichrist.
You got it.
So what a great premise for a children's show, right?
Right.
An animated show designed for children. Yeah, that seems right. That seems about right.
Is it called Little Demon?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I think it is. Isn't that great? That's really great.
That's the word.
Can you do any better with children's programming than that? I don't think so. It's got everything, a little bit of everything. Wow.
Yep. Oh, it's in Delaware. Oh, that's convenient. That's where it's based.
If we would have said any of this stuff 10 years ago, you would have called us crazy and said we need mental health. But it's all happening, and it's every single day, and pretty much nobody even bats an eyelash at it now. Wow, that's just amazing. How do they get away with that? Why is that okay? And this book banning thing, anytime that you're trying to protect children from having access to these kinds of books in their school system, you're a book burner. You advocate for burning books. And that's, I think the president made some remarks along those lines over the weekend at the Correspondents' Dinner, that Republicans are in favor of burning books. God, jeez. It is amazing. So then the question should be asked to the president. So you're saying that kids should be encouraged to read these books when they're 3, 4, 5 years old, these sexual books? We shouldn't protect them from that. Okay. Should they also have access to, say, Song of the South? Should they also have access to Mark Twain? Because that's been hugely controversial. And liberals were just burning those books. Huck Finn was something that children shouldn't have access to because some of the words used in it.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely incredible. And apparently a city councilman in Indiana has come out as trans, and the media is forced to take him seriously.
So good.
This is fun.
This is so fun.
A councilman is coming out as transgender and a woman of color. Delaware County Councilman Ryan Webb announced that he now identifies as an Indian American woman. Since that announcement, he's received some support, but a lot of backlash. Many calling him childish, despicable, even calling for things like execution. In a statement Webb gave to ITMate, he says, quote, "It is unfortunate that I cannot simply be given the same space and respect to explore my identity that so many of those targeting me demand for themselves. It's possible I may change my mind down the road. The process of identity exploration is complex, and oftentimes at the end of our personal journey, we end right back where we started." Webb goes on to tell ITMate this is just his true, authentic self.
I love this guy.
It is man.
Ryan Webb.
Brilliant.
You're awesome. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's with the backlash? I don't understand. Why?
Yeah. Why? Why is that less legitimate than anybody else making the transition?
Right?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hypocrites. Meanwhile, there's a video going around from a few years ago that shows how we used to act when people mutilated their bodies just because they can.
Do you have any regrets about taking your own vision or the process with which you did take your own vision?
She made
I
herself
don't have any
blind.
regrets taking my vision. I believe I should have been born blind, and I'm happy the way I am.
Wow.
I do have some regrets about the way I did it, but in the end, I'm happy the way I am.
Dr. Phil. With all due respect to Jewel, but I am having a really hard time sitting so close to someone who traumatized herself, who damaged herself. We took an oath in medicine to help people. We see horrible tragedies every single day as doctors, and people who would give anything to go back and restore their vision, their health. My heart is beating out of my chest. I can't even make sense of the emotions I'm feeling, because to hear someone say, I've always felt I should be blind. Well, I've always felt I should be the Queen of England, but I'm not going out to become the Queen of England.
What a bigot.
It wasn't that long ago. There was still a little common sense in this world.
But now if you mutilate yourself, especially your genitalia, you are perfectly normal. That's a wonderful thing to do. Go for it.
Yeah.
We're all there to support you in that.
Yeah.
Good for you.
And kudos to Pope Francis, who over the weekend was in Hungary And he was talking about...
he was hungry over the weekend?
No, he was in Hungary. He probably got hungry.
Yeah,
I assume. Yeah. I don't know. What's a good Hungarian dish that comes to mind? I bet it's yummy.
Goulash.
Okay. So anyway, he was talking about the trans movement, and he was talking about abortion as well. And this is just a great quote here. This is the nefarious path of ideological colonization, which eliminates differences, as in the case of so-called gender culture, or puts reductive concepts of freedom before the reality of life. For example, boasting as an achievement a senseless right to abortion, which is always a tragic defeat. Wow. Okay, so a little bit of hope there for this. That's this Pope.
Yeah.
I was quoting this Pope.
Huh.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So
that might lead you to answer the question, is the Pope Catholic? You might say yes in this case.
Temperature check. Yes.
I'm going to say right now, yes, he is. Let me tell you about Eden Pure Thunderstorms. If you've got smells in your house or you're worried about bacteria and viruses floating around, this is a great way to kill them. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier sends out oxy technology, which they're O3 molecules, and it seeks out and destroys the air pollutants in your home. Destroys them. So it's not just masked or covered up with some perfumey or flowery smell. It makes your home smell fresh and clean. It's called the Thunderstorm because it purifies the air in your home and provides you with pure, fresh air, just like after a thunderstorm in some places. Dallas, Texas not included. But right now, you can save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You get 3 units for under $200, a fraction of what, some other companies are selling these for like $600. But with this special offer, you're getting 3 units for under $200. So easy to install. Take it out of the box, plug it in, and turn it on. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. Put in the discount code PAT, and you'll save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code PAT. Shipping is free.
You're listening to Pat Gray Unleashed.
Welcome. A few tweets here. Major Danger tweets, can vaccines cause harm if you give them to a baby and that baby is allergic to an ingredient?
Oh.
They often administer vaccines before the child's been tested for allergies. This has always weighed heavy on my mind.
Yeah. And by the way, coming up in overtime today, we have some important information straight from Pfizer itself about the causes, like some of the things that happened during pregnancies.
Wow.
Because of the Pfizer COVID vaccine. So,
okay.
Pat Gray overtime today.
Toothpaste Words tweets, my cousin lost his leg due to a drunk driver. This trans-disabled crap. I can't even describe how angry it makes me. He has ghost pains because of his injury and sores. Oh, man. And learning to blind. This lady that was on Dr. Phil that we played made herself blind. She made herself blind because she thought she should have been born blind. As somebody who went blind 5 years ago, I just can't wrap my head around that. I mean, I'd give anything to have my eyesight back. Yeah, it's an obvious mental illness that she has because that's just not right. I mean, rather than being on Dr. Phil, she should be in some real therapist's office going through all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And should have been before she actually made herself blind. Jeez, yep. I mean, just tragic. The Los Angeles Times claims, remember their reporter last week had, Biden had a little card with her photo on it and the question that she was going to ask. Yes. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was pictured, it was photographed, it was videotaped. Everybody saw it. Everybody knows. Okay? The reporter's picture, name, and the question. Los Angeles Times denies they submitted their questions in advance to the White House. Wait, what? Well, then, how did he know the question she was going to ask? And they said, well, you're going to ask the White House how they knew. So the White House staff must be psychic then? They just printed what they thought she was going to say? Come on. How do you get away with that?
This is just going to end up just being a circuitous route to nowhere.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to go to someone like KJP and go, is it normal for the president to receive questions like you did the LA Times? You're going to have to ask the LA Times.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're going to have to ask the Department of fill in the blank, as she always does. But has the reporter said anything? Is the LA Times trying to throw their reporter under the bus here?
No.
Kind of?
They said our reporter did not submit
they
any
said
questions.
Our reporter did not.
Yeah,
Okay.
in advance of the Q&A with President Biden. This is the kind of lie we talk about, where you can stand there in front of somebody and say, I am not here. I'm not here. You're not looking at me right now. You deny the very reality we see in front of us. It's really incredible.
Wow, so KJP was asked about that, as a matter of fact.
And what'd she
says
say?
It's entirely normal for a president to be briefed on reporters and issues they might ask. Okay, then who submitted the question ahead of time?
Wow.
How did it get from the reporter to, what is her name? I want to look at her Twitter account.
Is it Courtney Subramanian?
Yeah.
Courtney Subramanian.
Because that's going to be easy for me to spell.
Yeah. S-U-B, just like it sounds.
Okay.
S-U-B-R-A-M.
Okay.
A-N.
All right.
I-A-N.
And this happened on, the 26th, 27th? Let's see here. Well, interesting. It doesn't appear
She didn't say anything about it?
that she has tweeted since this.
I mean, so the White House essentially admitted, yeah, they submit their questions in advance, sure.
She hasn't tweeted anything since this time.
Wow. Because what's she going to say? Yeah, I'm not a very good journalist, so I just caved.
Okay.
Had to give the president hours and hours and a team of people to come up with the answer to the question I was going to ask him.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Well, the inevitable is in fact happening because, well, it was inevitable.
Okay. Wow.
Fox suffering just a bit.
Oh.
And a ratings decline since they got rid of Tucker Carlson. Who saw that coming other than, I don't know, everybody?
Not a good business decision to let him go.
His finale a week ago drew 2,650,000 people. Okay, it averages, I think his show averaged about 3 million, 3.2 million, something like that. But his last show was 2.65. But that was a Friday night. I think Fridays, people go out and they're not watching TV as much. So then Brian Kilmeade from Fox and Friends in the morning substituted, and he held on to most of the audience, 2.59. So it went 2.65 to 2.59.
Yeah, that was probably just
Monday.
a curiosity more than anything.
I'm sure. On Tuesday, it was 1.7 million.
Oh, boy. That's a lot.
And 1.33 million by Wednesday, cut in half.
The number has gone down.
The ratings were cut in half.
Oh, my.
And then, of course, the show that follows him, Sean Hannity. So he had 2.5 million on Monday, 2 million Tuesday, 1.7 Wednesday night. So that hurt Hannity. It shows you the importance of a really good lead-in. Laura Ingram's show drew 2.156 million last Wednesday, but this past Wednesday, 2 days after Carlson was confirmed gone, her show went from 2.156 to 1.55 million. Also, Jesse Waters' show went from 2.1 million to 1.558 million. Huh. That is.
I hear Dylan Mulvaney is available if Fox wants to give him a call to do one of those slots.
No, Dylan's not too busy for that, you think? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? That'd be fun. Yeah, it would be fun.
Boy, his time is up.
Yeah, you would kind of think so.
I hope it is. Dear heavens, please be
Man. I mean, not that I want anything bad to happen. I mean, I just want people to realize we don't need this woke nonsense in our lives nonstop. We don't need it. We don't want it. And we're not going to accept it.
We've got plenty of things making us want to vomit in our world that we don't need to add a dude in a dress or in a bathtub acting like a woman. Bud Light.
Yeah, what about gender appropriation? What about that? How come there's only cultural appropriation? Why can't you appropriate somebody's gender Seems like that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing. Yeah, and somebody made this like database of transphobes, people that I guess have said things.
Oh yeah, there's like 40,000 names on it or something.
Yeah. And I made the list, and I'm pretty proud of that. So it's like a GitHub.
You're on it.
Listen, yeah. But there's a lot of people.
I'm not a transphobe. I am not listed among the transphobes.
Yeah, that's only because you don't
tweet.
Okay. But there was a study that came out, by the way, along the lines of the trans movement. Scientists followed 139 gender dysphoric boys.
149?
139.
39. Okay.
From 1989 to 2002. 88% of those boys that were gender dysphoric, 88% outgrew that by age 20.
88%?
Because they were left alone.
Oh, wow.
Leave the kids alone. Now, meanwhile, fewer teens than ever identify as being heterosexual, according to the CDC. And the CDC also reports that 1/3 of U.S. teen girls seriously considered attempting suicide in 2021. The number of teen girls who made a suicide plan also increased from 2019. So could we just leave the kids alone? And what I mean by that is if they need help, obviously you give it to them, but you don't try to screw them up when they're already in this world that makes no sense. And you're just piling on and quite literally ruining their lives forever if you start butchering them. Leave the kids alone.
And you start messing with the natural process of their bodies by blocking puberty. Jeez, I just think that's asinine.
88%
it's insane.
Will grow out of it if you leave them alone.
That's an incredible stat. It really is. You see that Egypt's a little bit upset over a new Netflix show that is, it hasn't, I don't think it's debuted. Oh, no, it hasn't debuted. May 10th.
Okay.
Queen Cleopatra will be released by Netflix. And Egypt's a little pissed off because they made Cleopatra black. And she wasn't. At least according to Egypt. They're upset because they're falsifying history. And that's true. Why would you do that? Just to be woke. Just because it's on the African continent, so she must have been black. Well, look at Egypt's makeup today. Why would you then assume? I mean, it's bizarre. An online petition on change.org titled Cancel Netflix's Queen Cleopatra has about 8,000 signatures. It says, Afrocentrism is a pseudoscience that's pushing a group's agenda to claim Egypt's history and rob the actual Egyptians of it. By using false articles and zero evidence, they're still attempting to falsify history. Cleopatra was born in Alexandria, Egypt, in the Ptolemaic dynasty to Greek descent. She was not black. This is in no way anything against black people, and is simply a wake-up call to preserve the history and the integrity of the Egyptians and the Greeks. The show is clearly done to complement the Afrocentric movement, which claims to be the owner of the ancient Egyptian civilization and to consolidate what the movement promotes. Egypt was never black, and it was never white. Egypt is just Egypt. There are many African/black civilizations, but Egypt was/is not one of them. And then they want you to sign the petition. That's a little politically incorrect.
So when is cultural appropriation a thing? And
only when it involves a white person doing the appropriating. That's the only time. They don't care about it any other time.
Okay.
At all. Meanwhile, Egypt has been critical of Netflix's content. It recently demanded the online streaming platform drop content that runs counter to its societal values, such as Western-produced TV shows featuring gay and lesbian characters on screen. Ooh, how dare they? How dare they? Now they've crossed over the line. I guess this new movie, Queen Cleopatra, is being done by Jada Pinkett Smith, producer. She produced it and narrates it. So,
did you just put Will Smith's wife's name in your mouth?
I did. So, fortunately, he's not around to slap me. But it's agonizing.
Right. Sounds like a good show.
Doesn't it, though?
I'm looking forward to
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The new Little Mermaid is black
right.
as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, everybody has to be, all white people that were in lead roles, they got to go and be replaced by minorities.
Lance reminds us that Hamilton.
Oh, okay, right.
They replaced
Yes.
Alexander Hamilton.
Yes.
But now, see, I will argue that if you do it well, then who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if you're just doing it to make a point, I mean, he wrote the play. He's absolutely allowed to be Hamilton, you know? So, but I mean, if you're doing it just to make a political point and score culture points, then that's dumb.
It is. Let me tell you about Birch Gold Group. Inflation has consequences, and we are reaping those consequences right now as the Fed raises interest rates to combat out-of-control government spending. Long-term bonds have, of course, diminished in value, crippling banks. Depositors are holding their breath. Investors are bailing on bank stocks. So diversification has never been more important. The recent surge in gold prices is directly tied to the extreme market volatility right now in both the stock market and the dollar, because it's, there's just rampant inflation. So this is a great time to diversify into gold with Birch Gold Group. They make it easy to convert your IRA or a 401k into an IRA with precious metals. Here's all you have to do. Text PAT to 989898 and get a free info kit. Read through it, check it out, and make the decision of whether this is something you'd like to be involved in. I really think you will. Text PAT to 989898 or 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold today. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, they have thousands of happy customers and countless 5-star reviews. Birch Gold is where you can trust to protect your future. Text PAT to 989898 today.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
So, a lot of feedback on your show on Friday.
Oh, okay, with the moon guy?
The moon guy, yeah.
Or the lack of moon guy? The guy who believes we didn't go to the moon?
Yeah. So there was a ton of feedback on social media from this audience.
People loving him?
No.
Split? Was it split or was it?
As far as did we go to the moon or not?
Yeah.
In the comments, I'd say it was split. Remember, our poll said just a little bit more than 50% say that we did go to the moon after hearing that interview.
And about 50% were either said we didn't or they weren't sure.
Correct. So I wanted y'all to know that the next time we do another conversation along those lines, like a conspiracy theory type, it's going to be the last Friday in May, 26th, and it's going to be with a gentleman, Tower Gang Jose, who he's got this. Remember, we watched this video a few weeks ago, and we're like, we got to get somebody on, and several people reached out and said, you got to get this guy on. And the video we watched was like a minute-long thing about a heroic police officer at Oklahoma City, Terrence Yeaky, who allegedly killed himself a year later. But there are so much involved with his death that we're like, okay, I always, speaking for myself, always knew there was more to Oklahoma City than just Timothy McVeigh didn't like the government and what they did at Waco, and so he blew up a federal building in Oklahoma City. But I'd never heard of Terrence Yeaky.
Well, we knew we knew Tim McVeigh's lawyer, a man named Chris Tritico, worked with us in Houston. And he said there was much more to it. So I believe he thought there was an Islamic tie in there.
Oh.
Do you remember that?
I don't know if I remember that specifically. Now, I believe that and John Doe number 2. We got lots of questions coming up for Tower Gang Jose coming up on May 26th.
Interesting. Yeah, it should be fascinating.
Yeah,
though.
I talked to him over the weekend, and I think you're going to enjoy that conversation more than you enjoyed Friday's conversation.
Really? I enjoyed that a lot.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I liked it.
A lot of people were concerned maybe you didn't.
No, I did. I liked it. I thought that he came off as very not credible. I thought
he's got a book in the mail to you, by the way.
Does he now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh.
And what's it called? We didn't go to the moon.
I think, isn't it Moon Man?
Moon Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Something he wrote about the controversy, obviously.
Yeah. Like he lays out all of his evidence and stuff like that in the book.
Well, the one thing I wanted to ask that we didn't was, okay, if we make it to the moon now, does that prove that we were there then?
Oh.
Or will you believe? He won't, of course, but because he said he had an open mind. Well, not anymore. You might have in the beginning. I don't think his mind's open to it now. But that was interesting. If you want to check that out, go to Friday's show.
Friday, hour number 1.
Yep.
That was a good one.
All right.
Memorable.
So here's some good news that we have to report. Over 100 Harvard professors have banded together to protect free speech, prevent censorship on campus, and they've called this a crisis time. Wow, that's for sure. So 100 Harvard professors and faculty have banded together. It's the Council on Academic Freedom, and their intent is to protect free speech and stop censorship on campus. Steven Pinker, the council's co-founder and Harvard psychology professor, published an op-ed in the Boston Globe this month, or I guess last month now, stating that, by the way, this is May 1st.
May 1st.
Can you believe it? May 1st already. Anyway, he stated that confidence in American higher education is sinking. Yeah. Largely because of the impression that universities are repressing differences of opinion. The impression? How about the fact that they're repressing differences of opinion? It's been stoked by viral videos of professors being mobbed, he says, cursed, heckled into silence. Yeah, I mean, they're throwing things at speakers, conservative speakers that come to campus. They're silencing, they're threatening. They show up and mob them. And sometimes they're assaulted. Look at Riley Gaines assaulted. What campus was that? Do you remember?
San Diego. San Francisco.
Yes, San Francisco State.
Right? Okay.
Yep. Pinker announced in the April 12th op-ed that he and 50 colleagues had formed a new council at Harvard to protect academic freedom. Since the article was published, the council has nearly doubled in size. That's according to council co-president and medical school professor Jeffrey Flyer, who's been at the Ivy League school since 1978. He says, during the great part of my career, I never really thought of there being a problem with free speech or academic freedom at Harvard. Yeah, but I think you have to admit now there's an issue.
Yeah. So what they're saying that the next time that they get rumblings that there's going to be a protest of a speaker on campus, that they're going to see that they intervene. Which, thank you.
Wow.
To defend free speech.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's a quote.
Nice.
That basically says that we will act when that time comes. So I don't know.
A little more good news. Yeah. Just because we're on that roll. Jonathan Turley wrote, in a major victory for gun rights advocates, U.S. District Judge Stephen McGlynn has granted a preliminary injunction of Illinois' ban on assault weapons. And large capacity magazines.
Yeah, and guess who appointed Judge McGlynn? Take a guess. I just can't guess. Pat, you can't guess. Federal judge that's making common sense rulings, you can't guess.
Is it Barack Obama?
No.
Is it Bill Clinton?
Negative.
Gosh, because I know it couldn't be Donald Trump.
And this guy's a liar.
Donald J. Trump.
Who saved this nation, really, with these judges.
Yes. Yeah.
Quite frankly.
Period, yeah.
Yep. So, the decision comes after two other district courts ruled in favor of the law, sending this issue to the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, and maybe to the Supreme Court. These long-awaited challenges will test the Democrat calls for removing all AR-15s and similar weapons, and of course the high-capacity magazines. Because
think the deer are wearing Kevlar vests?
No, I don't think they're wearing Kevlar vests. And so I guess we don't need an AR-15, right? Because if I'm just keeping it to protect myself from an out-of-control, oppressive, tyrannical government, well, I've got no chance against them anyway, because then I'd need tanks and F-35s and nuclear weapons. I don't have that kind of arsenal.
Right.
I don't even have a weapon anymore because they all fell into that really deep body of water that I was boating on.
That's tragic.
Yeah. Gosh.
That's kind of a generic way to describe it.
Well, because I forgot
what
body of water.
Large body.
Could have been a really big lake, or it might have been the ocean.
There's no way to know.
All I remember is the water and the guns falling out of the boat. Yeah, it sucks. McGlynn recognized that gun bans are popular in states like Illinois, but noted that even legislation that may enjoy the support of a majority of its citizens must fail if it violates the constitutional rights of fellow citizens.
How do you like that? Mob rule need not apply in a constitutional republic.
What? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
Where does this guy get off?
Oh, some of the things he said in this ruling are just like, oh, thank you so much.
The court tackles the argument made by many gun control advocates that states can ban non-essential accessories like magazines because they're not themselves arms under the Second Amendment. Huh. Nice. I mean, they're always trying to back their way around or out of the Second Amendment.
Yep.
Because they all love this. Don't get them wrong. They love the Second Amendment. They support it wholeheartedly. We just need common sense gun reform that has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. We just need to ban things that you don't need. Okay? Judge McGlynn also stated that it is bordering on the frivolous to claim that neither large capacity magazines nor assault weapons are protected because they weren't in common use when the Second Amendment was ratified. He cited the long-standing rule that the Second Amendment extends prima facie to all instruments that constitute bearable arms, even those that were not existent at the time of the founding. Interesting. Well, which is why, for instance, free speech is protected on the internet, which also didn't exist at the time of the founders. I don't know if people are aware of that. Judge McGlynn also noted that these weapons are commonly used for self-defense and that there are up to 2.5 million instances each year in which civilians used firearms for home defense. 2.5 million.
Wow.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard that.
It's definitely the first time I've heard that.
In no way does this court minimize the damage caused when a firearm is used for an unlawful purpose. However, this court must be mindful of the rights guaranteed by the Constitution. Thank you. Wait, you can't be ruled by emotion on this? Huh. The court's ruling today is not a final resolution of the merits of the case. Nothing in this order prevents the state from confronting firearm-related violence. There's a wide array of civil and criminal laws that permit the commitment and prosecution of those who use them illegally. Well, duh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you still can't take a gun. There's always been laws against that. Take a gun and shoot somebody dead with it for no reason, or to rob them, or whatever. You can't do that. So,
sorry.
There's no getting around that.
Getting around that.
It's illegal to begin with.
So, can we revisit that bull that was running for cover last week? The massive hailstorm we had just south of Dallas? Can you play that video from last week? Look at this. Remember?
People are concerned about this.
Yeah, the bull.
But look at the splash in the water from these hailstones.
Watch, that's Drago the bull. He's like,
ow, ow, ow.
This sucks, man. Come on. All right, well, we got an update because he became an internet sensation. Mm-hmm. People wanted to know how is the bull doing, and local news caught up with his owner there. And look at him running from it there. Let's see this local news report from over the weekend.
To them because that they're probably feeling a little pain, but God created them. They're a pretty resilient creature. Their hide is probably 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick. Then you've got a layer of fat.
Oh,
you have some muscle.
Yeah.
So they're pretty resilient. Cows and hail have been together for a long time.
That's probably a good point.
Look at him. See, he's cool. He's chilling.
Oh, there he is.
He was running for some trees, and he took cover under some pecan trees, and everything's good.
Huh.
So, half-inch thick hide, and he said, what did he say, fat and stuff?
Uh-huh.
So,
fat, muscle.
All right, sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, okay, well, Jeffy in a hailstorm would be fine. And then you mentioned the muscle.
Yeah, and then it was completely irrelevant.
So anyway, Drago the Bull doing just fine, okay?
Oh, thank goodness. I was worried about him
I know
over
you
the
were.
weekend.
I know you were. You were stressing, weren't you?
And that, of course, led you to think, all right, well, then we need more animal videos.
Oh, yeah, but we only have time for one more. So I want you to see the monkey with the fruit video. That's a good one there. It's a good Monday video.
Real quick.
22, monkey with the video. Watch this. I'm going to get me some fruit there. Thank you for the app. Oh, no. Wait. That's a cute. You see a little hand reach up there at the end.
I did. I saw that. That's great.
You're not laughing.
No,
you're not. Let's see. Look, he falls.
Awesome.
See, watch. He falls. He's like,
he falls, and then he
he's
reaches back up and gets it.
That's so great. It's a monkey with fruit.
Great. So
all right,
great.
we got 3 of the 5 in, y'all. We almost got there.
All right, we'll see you on Overtime. Then back here tomorrow for Pat Gray Unleashed.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.